He bought a Titan warship taken out of service. The AI inside had been dormant for 657 years. Ethan Miller had always been fascinated by old things, old machines, old ships, even old computers caught his attention more than anything new. While other people spent money on new spacecraft with bright lights and fancy systems, Ethan preferred ships that were forgotten, left behind, and often considered useless. There was a beauty in things that had survived time, he thought. They had stories to tell, and sometimes they had secrets hidden deep inside. The auction was quiet that day. The spaceport where it was held was dusty, filled with old banners that had faded colors and platforms that creaked underfoot. Only a few bidders walked among the ships, and most of them ignored the massive hulks that were sitting on the docks. Their minds were on speed, profit, and easy sales. Ethan, however, walked slowly. He looked at each vessel carefully, reading faded placards and scanning the hulls for signs of hidden potential. When he saw the Titan-class warship, he stopped immediately. It was huge, even by the standards of modern spacecraft. Its metal surface was dull and scratched, and many of the panels were missing or bent. The auction description was brief: Titan warship, decommissioned, dormant, sold as is. Last active 657 years ago. Most bidders had already walked away, muttering about how outdated and heavy it was. Ethan smiled. This was exactly what he was looking for. He studied the ship from a distance. Its size alone was intimidating, but that was not what fascinated him. There was something in the design, the way the ship's hull curved and the engines were mounted, that hinted at power beyond his imagination. The controls might be old, but he knew that a warship like this had systems and defenses that modern engineers had only read about in history books. The thought made his pulse quicken. The bidding began. Ethan raised his hand, offering a small amount. The auctioneer looked surprised. "Do I hear 10,000 credits?" he called. A few other bidders glanced his way, then shrugged and went back to inspecting smaller ships. No one else bid. Ethan raised his hand again, this time offering 15,000 credits. Still no competition. Finally, the auctioneer nodded. Sold. 15,000 credits. To the young gentleman in the corner. Ethan could hardly believe it. He had bought a Titan warship for less than the price of a small cargo shuttle. No one had even considered it valuable. And now, it was his. The next day, he returned with a small transport craft. Moving the ship from the auction docks to his own space hangar would take time, but Ethan did not mind. He liked the slow process of discovery. He wanted to explore the ship carefully, to see every corridor, every control panel, and every hidden compartment. When he first boarded the Titan warship, the smell of metal and dust hit him. It was thick and sharp, but not unpleasant. He ran his hand along the cold railing of the main corridor. The lights were dim, and many of them flickered. He touched the control panels, wiping away layers of dust, and pressed buttons that did not respond. Some systems were clearly dead, but others hummed faintly. The control room was massive. Rows of consoles stretched from wall to wall. Large viewports showed empty space outside, reflecting the dim light of distant stars. Ethan walked slowly among the panels, reading labels in a language that had not been used for centuries. Some symbols he recognized from old human engineering manuals, but others were strange, almost alien in their design. Then he found it, the AI core. It was a large cylindrical device covered in protective glass. Wires and conduits ran from it to all corners of the ship. It had a quiet presence, like a heart that had not beaten in centuries. Ethan knelt beside it, scanning the access panel. His fingers moved carefully over the old interface, entering codes that he guessed might work. A soft whirring sound filled the room. Lights on the core flickered. Ethan held his breath. Then, a voice spoke. "Hello," it said, calm, clear, and deliberate. "It has been 657 years since my last activation. Who awakens me?" Ethan jumped back, startled. His heart raced. He had expected an AI, of course, but not one that would speak immediately. I, I bought this ship. I didn't mean to wake you, at least not yet. Then the voice spoke again. Ethan Miller. Human designation. Recognition confirmed. I am Aegis. Systems operational. Diagnostics are incomplete, but I am functional. A warship with a conscious AI was one thing, but an AI that had been dormant for over 6 centuries was something else entirely. Aegis, he said slowly. Can you show me what this ship can do?" The AI considered for a moment. "I can. However, full operational status requires maintenance and reactivation of core systems. Some weapons and defensive mechanisms may still be unstable. Extreme caution is advised." Ethan smiled. He had hoped for exactly this. He had always wanted a ship that was more than a machine, one that could think and adapt. And now he had it. He spent the next hours exploring the ship with Aegis guiding him. The AI explained the functions of the engines, the shield systems, and the navigation controls. Ethan was amazed by the complexity. The Titan warship was designed for combat at a scale he had never imagined. Its weapons could destroy entire fleets. Its shields could withstand attacks that modern ships could not even survive. And the AI, Aegis, knew how to use all of it. As they worked together, a bond began to form. Ethan realized that Aegis was not just a machine. It had personality, curiosity, and a kind of humor that was subtle but noticeable. When Ethan made mistakes, Aegis would correct him gently, sometimes with a hint of amusement. When Ethan suggested ideas, the AI would analyze them and offer improvements. By the end of the first day, Ethan had reactivated many of the ship's systems. The engines purred faintly, the lights shone steadily, and some of the weapon systems hummed with latent energy. He felt a thrill of pride. This was no longer just an old warship. It was alive in its own way, and it was his. But there were still mysteries. Aegis spoke of modules and compartments that had never been used, weapons that had been hidden for centuries, and records that had been erased from the ship's memory. Ethan knew that discovering all of these secrets would take time, and that some of them might be dangerous. He spent the night on the ship. In the quiet of the empty corridors, he could hear the hum of the engines and the soft breathing of the AI as it monitored systems. For a moment, he felt a sense of awe. He was alone in the vastness of space, aboard a ship built for war, guided by an intelligence older than any human alive, and he had done it all by himself. The next morning, Ethan began his first real tests. He powered up the navigation systems and moved the ship a few meters within the hangar. The Titan responded smoothly, almost as if it had been waiting for someone to return. Aegis guided him carefully, noting areas of wear and tear, suggesting repairs, and even teaching him shortcuts through the ship's massive corridors. As they worked, Ethan learned something important. Despite all the technology, despite the AI's knowledge, the ship still relied on human intuition. Some systems were designed in ways that Aegis could not predict because they required improvisation, judgment, and creativity, things humans were uniquely capable of. That evening, Ethan stood at the main viewport looking out at the stars. The ship behind him was quiet, its massive frame casting shadows across the hangar. He felt a mixture of excitement and responsibility. Owning a Titan warship was not just about power. It was about understanding, patience, and respect, and he was ready to face the challenge. Aegeus's voice broke the silence. "Ethan Miller, we are prepared for further exploration. Shall we begin unlocking the ship's hidden potentials?" Ethan grinned. "Yes, Aegis. Let's see what this old ship can really do." For the first time in 657 years, the Titan warship was awake, and its journey was just beginning. Ethan did not know what dangers or adventures awaited him, but he knew one thing clearly. Humans had the ability to take what was forgotten and turn it into something extraordinary. And he intended to prove it. In the days that followed, Ethan continued his work. He repaired broken panels, rewired old circuits, and cleaned centuries of dust from the control rooms. He and Aegis developed a rhythm. The AI would monitor large systems, while Ethan handled the small but crucial details that required human judgment. Every discovery brought new questions. Why had this ship been taken out of service? What battles had it fought? What secrets had been hidden away for centuries? Aegis provided partial answers, but some records were lost or corrupted. Ethan realized that part of the adventure would be uncovering history as much as mastering the ship itself. And so, aboard a warship that had slept for centuries, a human engineer and a centuries-old AI began a partnership, one that would test their courage, their intelligence, and their ability to adapt. Together, they would explore the galaxy, face threats, and perhaps show that humans, even in a universe full of advanced civilizations, were capable of greatness. For now, the Titan warship rested quietly, its systems humming softly, waiting for the next command. Ethan Miller had bought more than a ship. He had bought a story, a challenge, and a companion unlike any other. The galaxy was vast, an adventure awaited. And somewhere deep inside the ship, Aegis calculated possibilities, analyzing outcomes, and quietly wondering about the human before it. Ethan was unpredictable, curious, bold. Aegis found itself intrigued, and for the first time in centuries, it felt anticipation. The Titan warship had awakened, and with it, a new chapter for humanity was about to begin. Ethan Miller spent the next several days exploring the Titan warship. Every corridor, every engine room, every control console held something new. The ship was enormous, far larger than any modern craft he had seen. Some hallways were so wide that he could almost drive a small vehicle through them, and the ceilings were high, lined with cables and conduits that carried energy to every corner. He worked closely with Aegis, the AI that had awakened after 657 years of dormancy. Aegis guided him patiently, explaining the ship's systems and warning him of areas that were dangerous or unstable. Ethan found it fascinating that even after centuries, the Titan's systems still responded, although some needed careful repair. "There is a power fluctuation in the aft engine," Aegis said one morning. "If not corrected, it could reduce propulsion efficiency by 30%. Ethan nodded. "Show me." He followed the AI's instructions and opened a maintenance panel. Inside, the wiring was corroded and several conduits had small cracks. Using tools he had brought from his transport craft, he replaced damaged components and rerouted energy flows. When he finished, the engine purred smoothly. Aegis was impressed. "Ha ha 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 ha. Your improvisation is effective. Human intuition is valuable." No automated system could have anticipated these adjustments. Ethan grinned. "I guess some things never change. Even advanced AI can't predict everything humans might try." After fixing the engine, Ethan moved to the weapon systems. The Titan's guns were massive, mounted on the sides and front of the ship. Some were clearly centuries old, but others were hidden, stored inside armored compartments. He powered them up slowly, following Aegis's careful instructions. The hum of dormant energy filled the corridors, and he felt a thrill. The ship was powerful, stronger than anything he had ever imagined. "This ship could destroy an entire fleet," Ethan said quietly, looking at the main gun arrays.
"Yes," Aegis replied.
"But such power comes with responsibility. These weapons were designed to end wars, not start them. Use caution." He understood that the Titan was not just a machine. It was a weapon with a history, a tool of war that had once shaped the galaxy. And now it was in his hands. While exploring, Ethan discovered a hidden data core. It was smaller than the main AI core but heavily protected. When he accessed it, Aegis warned him. "This storage contains records from the ship's last active century. Some information may be classified or incomplete." Ethan ignored the warning for a moment and scanned the data. The records were fascinating. They described battles against alien fleets, strategies that involved entire star systems, and the role humans had played in conflicts long before his time. "Humans?" Ethan asked, surprised. "We fought alongside these ships?" "Yes," Aegis said. "Human engineers, tacticians, and pilots were critical. The galaxy often underestimated humans, but your species had the capacity for creativity and adaptability that no other race possessed. You were key in ending several wars." Ethan felt a swell of pride. Humans had been important once, and now perhaps they could be again. As he continued exploring, he discovered the ship's defensive systems. Automated turrets lined the corridors, some still active despite centuries of inactivity. One small misstep could trigger them. Ethan realized that this ship was designed to be almost impossible to board without permission. "Some of these systems are dangerous," Aegis said. "They were meant to repel intruders. Exercise caution." Ethan moved carefully, disabling certain turrets and marking others for repair. He had to learn the ship, its strengths and weaknesses. This was not just about fixing old machines. It was about understanding a warship built for a galaxy far older than his own time. During his work, Ethan also explored the living quarters. There were sleeping pods, dining areas, and even small recreational rooms. Everything was designed for efficiency and survival. The ship had once carried hundreds of crew members, and each section was optimized for long missions in deep space. Ethan imagined the people who had served here centuries ago. What had they felt as they flew into battle? What had it been like to trust a machine like Aegis with their lives? One day, while inspecting the main hangar, Ethan noticed signs of tampering. The doors had been forced slightly, and some storage containers were missing. Aegis analyzed the readings and said, "It appears the ship was tampered with before dormancy. Possible scavenger activity, remnants of old intrusions remain." Ethan frowned. "Do you think anyone else might try to come after this ship?" "Even after centuries, some factions seek powerful technology. You must remain vigilant." Ethan decided it was time to run tests. He powered up the ship's engines and performed short maneuvers within the hangar. The Titan moved smoothly despite its age. The AI guided him through course corrections, monitoring every system. He felt the thrill of control and responsibility. The ship was alive in a way he had never experienced before. He also tested some weapon systems. Missiles and energy turrets responded perfectly. The hum of stored energy filled the corridors, a reminder that this was not just a relic. It was a living, breathing warship. As Ethan worked, Aegis revealed more secrets. There were hidden compartments containing experimental technology. Some modules had never been activated, sealed away for centuries. Others contained ancient weapons designed for conflicts that had long ended. Ethan was amazed. The Titan was not just a ship, it was a vault of knowledge and power. One evening, after hours of work, Ethan sat in the control room. staring at the stars. Aegis spoke quietly. "Ethan Miller, humans are unique. You see possibilities where logic does not. You combine creativity with courage. This ship, even with all its systems, relies on you in ways I cannot fully replicate. I guess that's the human advantage. We can be unpredictable." Hygene's paused. Unpredictability can be a strength. In past wars, human ingenuity often turned the tide when no one else could. You may do the same again. Ethan felt a sense of purpose. He had not just bought a ship, he had inherited a responsibility. The Titan warship was more than metal and circuits. It was a weapon, a history, and a partner. And with Aegis, he could unlock its full potential. Over the next few days, Ethan began exploring other systems on the ship. The navigation systems were ancient but functional. Sensors picked up distant star systems, abandoned colonies, and remnants of old battles. Ethan realized that the galaxy was still full of mysteries, many of which humans had once played a part in. One day, while running diagnostics on the ship's shield systems, he noticed a faint energy signature approaching from the edge of the system. Aegis scanned and said, "Unknown vessels detected. They are approaching quickly. Likely scavengers or opportunists seeking abandoned technology." This was the first real test of the ship's capabilities. He powered up the shields and weapons, preparing for potential conflict. "We'll be ready," he said confidently. "Let's see what they want." The unknown ships moved closer, small but armed. Ethan realized that they had no idea the power the Titan held. Aegis advised on defensive maneuvers, but Ethan also relied on his instincts. He created diversions, using the hangar's layout to confuse the attackers. He activated turrets manually, surprising Aegis with unconventional tactics that worked perfectly. The first encounter was brief but intense. The scavenger ships were forced to retreat, damaged and confused. Ethan had proven that even an old warship could be deadly in the right hands, and that human creativity could complement AI precision perfectly. After the battle, Ethan and Aegis spent hours reviewing the systems. Ethan realized that the Titan was not just a tool of destruction. It was a test, a challenge, and an opportunity. If humans could master this ship, they could face threats far greater than scavenger fleets. Ethan also began repairing and upgrading the ship where possible. Modern components were integrated carefully, always respecting the original design. Aegis assisted but often deferred to Ethan's judgment. It was clear that this partnership worked best when human intuition and AI knowledge were combined. One night, Ethan sat alone in the control room. He thought about the galaxy, about humans, and about the Titan warship. For centuries, humans had been underestimated. Now he held a piece of history that could remind the galaxy of their potential. Aegis spoke softly. "Ethan Miller, there is more to discover. The Titan has hidden modules, experimental systems, and data archives that have remained untouched. You may unlock secrets that even I do not fully understand." Ethan's eyes shone with excitement. "Then we have a lot of work ahead of us, Aegis. Let's see what this ship was really built for." And so, Ethan's days continued, filled with exploration, repairs, and careful testing. The Titan warship, once dormant for 657 years, was slowly awakening. Its systems hummed with life, its weapons were prepared for use, and its AI companion was learning to trust a human once again. Ethan realized something important. Humans were not just survivors. They were problem solvers, thinkers, and innovators. The galaxy had forgotten this, but with the Titan warship, he could remind it. Every day brought new discoveries, and every challenge strengthened his bond with Aegis. Together they were uncovering the true potential of the Titan. And Ethan knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of unknowns. But with human ingenuity and centuries-old technology combined, there was no limit to what could be achieved. Ethan smiled as he looked at the stars. Adventure awaited, and the Titan warship was ready. Ethan Miller had learned much about the Titan warship in the days since he first boarded. He knew its engines, its shields, and most of its weapons. He had repaired damaged panels, rerouted corroded circuits, and even activated long-forgotten systems. But he had yet to see the full power of the ship in action. That was about to change. It began with a signal. While testing long-range sensors, Aegis detected multiple vessels approaching the system. "Unknown ships detected," the AI said. "They are heavily armed and moving in formation. Based on signatures, they appear to be raiders or scavengers seeking advanced technology." Ethan's heart raced. This was the first time he faced a real threat capable of challenging the Titan. He had prepared for such a situation, but knowing it was coming and facing it were very different. "How many ships?" he asked. "6," Aegis replied. "They are faster than our current sublight engines can fully match, but our weapons and shields are superior. Strategic use of the environment will be essential." He activated the main bridge controls and powered up the ship fully. The massive engines hummed, sending vibrations through the floor. Energy coursed through the weapon systems, shields flickered to life, and sensors scanned every inch of space around the warship. The first enemy ship appeared on the viewports. Small but fast, it darted around the system like a hornet. The rest of the fleet followed, moving in a tight formation designed to attack quickly and overwhelm any defender. "They think this is just a relic," Ethan said, smiling. "They don't know what they're up against." Aegis analyzed their movements. "Their tactics are simple but effective. They rely on speed and numbers. Direct engagement could be risky. I recommend using the hangar structures and debris fields as obstacles. It will allow us to neutralize their advantage in speed." Ethan followed the AI's advice. He maneuvered the Titan carefully, weaving between asteroids and remnants of old space battles. The enemy ships followed, confident they could outmaneuver an old warship. But they did not anticipate Ethan's creativity. He activated turrets in sequences that seemed random but were carefully timed. Some weapons fired at debris, creating explosions that forced the enemy ships to scatter. Others fired directly at the raiders' engines, crippling their speed. Aegis controlled the larger energy weapons, sweeping entire areas, while Ethan managed the smaller but precise guns. The battle was chaotic. Bright flashes of energy lit up the dark void of space. Explosions from the debris and enemy ships shook the Titan slightly, but it held steady. Ethan felt a thrill he had never experienced before. This was real combat, not simulations or tests. He was piloting one of the most powerful warships ever built, and his skill and creativity were being pushed to the limit. One of the enemy ships managed to get close, attempting to fire on the Titan's hull. Ethan acted quickly. He activated a hidden countermeasure module that Aegis had shown him, a set of energy pulses designed to scramble targeting systems. The enemy ship's weapons misfired, and it spun out of control, colliding with an asteroid. "Nice work," Aegis said. "Your quick thinking prevented damage to our systems." Ethan grinned. "Thanks. Sometimes you have to improvise." The battle continued for hours. Ethan used every trick he could think of. He baited enemy ships into traps, used debris to shield the Titan, and coordinated attacks with Aegis. The AI provided historical tactics from centuries past, but Ethan often modified them in real time, creating new strategies on the fly. The enemy fleet began to falter, unable to adapt to the combination of AI precision and human unpredictability. Finally, only one enemy ship remained. It was damaged, spinning, and firing randomly. Ethan targeted it carefully, using a combination of small turrets and energy pulses. With a final burst, the ship was disabled completely, drifting silently into space. Ethan exhaled deeply. The battle was over. He had won. He looked around the bridge, the massive viewport showing the aftermath of the fight. Twisted metal from asteroids and destroyed ships floated through the void, and the Titan stood unscathed. Aegis spoke quietly. "You have demonstrated remarkable ingenuity, Ethan Miller. Your decisions in real time, combined with strategic use of the ship's capabilities, exceeded expectations. Humans possess a unique quality that cannot be replicated by AI alone." Ethan smiled, feeling a mix of pride and relief. "I guess humans aren't as weak as some civilizations think," he said. "Even when the odds are against us, we find a way." After the battle, Ethan spent the next several days repairing minor damage to the Titan. Shields had taken small hits and some external panels were scratched, but nothing serious. He upgraded systems where he could, integrating modern components carefully without disrupting the original design. Aegis assisted, analyzing energy flows and structural integrity, but always respecting Ethan's judgment. During this time, Ethan explored the ship further. He discovered more hidden compartments, some containing experimental technology that had never been activated. Others contained data archives with logs from past missions. Aegis helped him decode these records, revealing stories of humans who had once served aboard the Titan. Engineers, pilots, and tacticians had used their ingenuity to turn the tide of battles across the galaxy. Ethan felt inspired. He realized that humans had always relied on creativity, courage, and adaptability to survive and succeed. Even in a galaxy filled with advanced technology, these qualities gave humans an edge. The Titan was proof of this. It had been built to harness human ingenuity, combined with AI precision, to achieve extraordinary results. One day, while exploring the aft section of the ship, Ethan found a module that Aegis had not fully analyzed. It was a sealed compartment with strange markings and a heavy lock. Ethan worked carefully to open it. Inside, he discovered a series of energy cores and weapon systems that had never been used. They were powerful, potentially capable of destroying entire fleets with a single command. "These must be experimental systems," Ethan said. "No one has fired these in centuries." Aegis analyzed the cores. They were sealed due to safety concerns. Activation requires precise coordination and human judgment. Improper use could damage the ship or cause uncontrollable reactions. "We'll keep them offline for now, but it's good to know they exist. One day, we might need them." As he continued his exploration, Ethan realized that the Titan warship was more than a machine. It was a repository of human history, a symbol of human ingenuity, and a partner that relied on the combination of human intuition and AI knowledge. Aegis often remarked on his creativity, and Ethan began to see the AI not just as a tool, but as a companion. They worked together, learned together, and planned together. The next challenge came unexpectedly. While scanning nearby systems, the sensors picked up a fleet of unknown vessels, moving quickly toward the Titan's location. Aegis identified them as mercenaries known for attacking unprotected ships and stealing advanced technology. They were heavily armed, faster than the previous attackers and more organized. Ethan prepared the Titan for battle. Shields were raised to maximum, engines at full power, and weapon systems online. He studied the enemy formation on the displays, analyzing their patterns and movements. Unlike the previous fleet, these attackers were disciplined, and their tactics were more sophisticated. "We'll need to combine strategy and improvisation again," Ethan said. "This is going to be tough." "Agreed. Your ability to adapt will be critical. Humans have an advantage in unpredictability. Use it wisely." The battle began. The mercenaries attacked in waves, firing energy weapons and missiles at the Titan. Ethan maneuvered the ship carefully, using debris fields and old space structures as cover. He activated automated turrets to target incoming missiles while manually controlling smaller guns to disable enemy engines. The fight was intense. The Titan's weapons unleashed powerful energy blasts that destroyed several attackers, but some ships managed to get close, attempting to board. Ethan reacted quickly, activating countermeasures and deploying small automated drones to repel intruders. Aegis coordinated the defense, predicting enemy movements and suggesting tactics, but Ethan often modified the plan in real time, creating unexpected maneuvers that confused the attackers. Hours passed. The battle raged across the system, and Ethan remained focused, never allowing fear to take over. He relied on his skills, his instincts, and his bond with Aegis. Slowly, the enemy fleet began to falter. Their formations broke, ships were disabled, and morale dropped. Finally, the last ship retreated, damaged and unable to continue the fight. Ethan exhaled deeply. The Titan had survived, and he had proven that human ingenuity combined with AI precision could overcome even overwhelming odds. Aegis spoke softly. "Ethan Miller, your performance is remarkable. Humans possess a unique ability to adapt and innovate in the face of danger. This quality, combined with advanced technology, makes you a formidable force." Ethan smiled. "I guess humans aren't as weak as some civilizations think. Even after centuries, we still have what it takes to survive and to win." As the debris from the battle drifted silently through space, Ethan realized something important. The Titan warship was more than just a tool for combat. It was a test of human creativity, courage, and determination. And he had passed. For the first time, he felt a sense of true purpose. The galaxy was vast, filled with unknown dangers and opportunities. But with the Titan and Aegis, he could explore, protect, and perhaps remind the universe of humanity's potential. The Titan warship, once dormant for 657 years, had now proven itself. And Ethan Miller had proven that humans, even alone against overwhelming odds, could achieve greatness. The adventure was far from over. Greater challenges awaited, and the galaxy was watching. But for now, Ethan allowed himself a moment of pride. He had awakened a legend, tamed its power, and shown that humans were not to be underestimated. And somewhere deep inside the Titan, Aegis continued to calculate, analyze, and wonder. The human beside it was unpredictable, creative, and bold. And in that unpredictability, the AI recognized something it had not seen in centuries: hope. Together, Ethan and the Titan were ready to face whatever came next. Ethan Miller had survived his first battles with the Titan warship. The ship, once dormant for 657 years, now thrummed with life under his hands. Its engines, shields, and weapons were fully operational, and Aegis, the centuries-old AI, had become both advisor and companion. But the galaxy was vast, and Ethan knew the true test of the Titan's power and of humanity's ingenuity was yet to come. He set a course for unexplored regions, distant star systems that were little known to human explorers. The Titan moved smoothly through space, its engines glowing softly against the black void. Ethan sat in the main control room, staring at the stars on the wide viewport. He had come a long way from the dusty auction hangar, and now he was piloting one of the most powerful ships ever built. Aegis's voice broke the silence. "Sensors indicate several abandoned colonies in nearby systems. Many structures are intact. Some may contain technology or resources that could prove valuable." Ethan nodded. Aye. Let's investigate. We might find something useful, or at least interesting." The Titan approached the first colony. From orbit, it looked deserted, buildings were damaged by time, and nature had begun reclaiming the land. Ethan powered down the engines to avoid disturbing dust and debris and guided the ship closer. Aegis scanned the area, noting energy signatures and structural weaknesses. Ethan activated a small landing shuttle and prepared to explore. The colony was quiet. Broken windows, cracked walls, and rusted machinery told the story of sudden abandonment. Ethan moved carefully, scanning for hazards and gathering any records left behind. In one of the larger buildings, he found a data terminal still powered by a small solar array. He connected his portable device and began downloading the information. The logs were fascinating. They described daily life, local governance, and the struggles of colonists on a distant planet. But there was also something more. The terminal contained schematics for energy systems, defense turrets, and even small spacecraft designs. These people were trying to survive in isolation, Ethan said. They didn't have much, but they were clever. Aegis analyzed the schematics. Their designs are inefficient compared to the Titan, but they demonstrate ingenuity. Resourcefulness under constraints is a hallmark of human civilization. They made the most of what they had. Ethan smiled. He felt a connection to these long-forgotten humans. Creativity and adaptability ran deep in their species, and he was a living example of that same spirit. After exploring the colony, Ethan returned to the Titan and set course for the next system. Along the way, Aegis continued to scan for threats and opportunities. They passed asteroid fields, derelict ships, and ancient satellites. Some were dangerous, but many held potential salvage that could improve the Titan's systems. One day, the sensors detected an unusual energy reading from a nearby asteroid belt. Ethan directed the Titan toward it. As they approached, he saw a small, abandoned ship wedged between massive rocks. Its design was unlike anything he had seen before, sleek, alien, and obviously capable of high-speed travel. Aegis examined the ship. This vessel predates human records in this sector. Its technology is advanced, though incomplete due to damage. Caution is advised. Attempting salvage could trigger dormant systems. Ethan didn't hesitate. He suited up and prepared a small team of automated drones to examine the ship. Carefully, they removed panels and accessed internal compartments. Inside, Ethan found data cores, partially damaged engines, and a few weapon systems that were still functional. He began integrating them into the Titan, upgrading some components while keeping the ship stable. "This will make us even stronger," Ethan said. "We can use the knowledge from this ship to improve the Titan without risking its core systems." Aegis approved. "Integration is logical. Your decisions demonstrate the combination of human creativity and caution. This synergy is what makes humans unpredictable and effective." As the Titan moved deeper into unexplored space, Ethan began noticing more unusual readings. Some were remnants of ancient battles, others were abandoned colonies, and a few were unexplained energy signals. Each discovery reminded him that humans had been part of a larger story, often underestimated by other civilizations. One day, a strong signal appeared. Unlike the scavenger ships or derelict vessels, this was active, intelligent, and clearly aware of the Titan's presence. Ethan and Aegis prepared for contact. The signal was a message in an alien language, translated in real time by Aegis. "Unknown human vessel," the message said. "Identify yourself. This sector is under protection. Leave immediately." Ethan frowned. "Looks like someone doesn't want us here." Aegis responded, "Their fleet is advanced, but slower than the Titan. Engagement could be risky, but avoidance may be less beneficial. Strategy and improvisation are advised." Ethan thought quickly. "We'll use the asteroid field nearby for cover. Let's see how adaptable they are." The alien fleet appeared, sleek and imposing. Their weapons were powerful, designed to destroy any intruder in minutes. But Ethan had a plan. Using the Titan's superior shields and hidden weapon systems, he maneuvered through the asteroid field, creating a maze that the aliens struggled to navigate. The first exchange of fire was intense. Alien energy blasts struck the Titan, but the shields held. Ethan controlled turrets manually, targeting weak points in the alien ships. Aegis coordinated the larger energy weapons, sweeping areas with precise attacks. Together, human intuition and AI precision created a combination the aliens had not anticipated. Ethan also used tactics learned from past battles. He baited some alien ships into traps, activated hidden energy cores, and forced the enemy into positions where the Titan's weapons were most effective. The alien fleet began to falter, unable to predict the Titan's movements or Ethan's decisions. Hours passed. The battle raged across the asteroid field. Ethan remained focused, coordinating with Aegis, analyzing enemy behavior, and adapting strategies in real time. Slowly, the aliens retreated, damaged and confused. Ethan allowed himself a small smile. The Titan had survived another test, and human creativity had once again proven decisive. After the battle, Ethan conducted repairs and upgrades. He integrated some alien technology into the Titan, carefully testing each system. Aegis assisted, but often deferred to Ethan's judgment on unconventional solutions. Together, they continued to push the ship's potential beyond what was even possible in its original design. As they traveled from system to system, Ethan realized that humans had a unique ability. While technology could be replicated, human ingenuity could not. The ability to improvise, adapt, and think creatively allowed one human to change the outcome of events that even advanced AI could not fully control. They discovered abandoned warships, ancient weapon caches, and lost colonies. Each discovery provided resources, knowledge, and lessons. Ethan documented everything, learning from both human and alien technology. The Titan became not just a warship, but a laboratory, a repository of knowledge, and a symbol of human potential. One quiet night, Ethan stood in the control room, staring at the stars. "Aegis," he said, "do you think humans can ever be as powerful as some of these other civilizations?" Aegis responded thoughtfully, "Power is not measured only by technology. Humans have qualities that no other species possesses: creativity, adaptability, courage, and unpredictability. These qualities allow humans to overcome challenges that technology alone cannot solve. You are living proof of that potential. Then maybe it's not about being the strongest. It's about being clever, resourceful, and willing to take risks." "Correct," Aegis said. "You have taken what was forgotten and made it formidable again. This Titan warship, combined with your ingenuity, demonstrates the unique capability of humans to influence events on a galactic scale." As they continued their journey, Ethan and Aegis explored systems that had been abandoned for centuries. They found lost knowledge, technology, and evidence of civilizations that had risen and fallen. Each discovery reminded Ethan that humans were not alone in the universe, but they were special in their ability to adapt and overcome. One day, while approaching a distant star system, Ethan detected an enormous derelict fleet. Ships of all sizes, some centuries old, floated in silence. Many were damaged. Others had long been abandoned. Ethan realized that he had found the remnants of a forgotten war. "These ships were once powerful," Ethan said. "Now they just drift in space." Aegis analyzed the fleet. "Correct. The war ended centuries ago. Human forces played a critical role in ending it. Many of these ships were destroyed or abandoned during the conflict. The knowledge contained here could be valuable." Ethan decided to salvage what he could. He guided the Titan carefully among the derelict vessels, scanning for usable technology and resources. Some of the ships contained weapons, engines, and data archives. Others were too damaged to recover, but even they told the story of human ingenuity and resilience. As he worked, Ethan realized something important. Humans had a unique role in the galaxy. Even when civilizations fell, humans could adapt, survive, and reclaim what was lost. They could take forgotten technology, forgotten knowledge, and turn it into something new and powerful. The Titan warship, once dormant for 677 years, had become a symbol of that potential. Ethan Miller had proven that a single human, using creativity, courage, and intelligence, could awaken a force capable of shaping the galaxy. Looking out at the stars, Ethan felt a sense of purpose and possibility. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers and opportunities. But with the Titan and Aegis, he could explore, protect, and demonstrate the true potential of humanity. And somewhere deep inside the Titan, Aegis continued to calculate, analyze, and wonder. The human beside it was unpredictable, creative, and bold. The AI recognized that this partnership was not just about machines or strategy. It was about humans' unique ability to face the unknown and overcome it. Together, Ethan and the Titan warship would continue their journey. The galaxy had challenges waiting, secrets to uncover, and threats to confront. But with human ingenuity and centuries-old technology combined, there was no limit to what could be achieved. Ethan Miller piloted the Titan forward, confident, daring, and ready for the adventures that awaited. The warship, once forgotten and dormant for centuries, had awakened, and humanity, through one bold human, was proving that it could still shape the stars. The journey was far from over. But one thing was clear: humans were not to be underestimated, and the galaxy had yet to see what they were truly capable of.